Hey, I'm Austin Dickinson, and you're watching Blairing Out with Eric Blair.
This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, backstage at the 2012 Warped Tour with Austin Dickinson of Rise to Remain. How you doing today, Austin?
Spliffing, how are you?
Spliffing. Now, isn't like a spliff like a marijuana cigarette mixed with tobacco?
It is. That's not how I'm feeling. It's kind of more of a British terminology for feeling rather quite jolly. So that's actually the term I meant it, but good catch.
Now, tell me, Rise to Remain. There's a lot of power in that name. How did you guys come to obtain that name?
Well, the whole name, I guess, reflects our kind of ethos about positivity, and I guess just striving and persevering until you kind of get where you want to be. And I think that that's not something that the band kind of makes a heavy point of referencing in our lyrics or anything like that, but I think as a general vibe, it's most certainly what we're about. You know, we love our fans, we love the fan base that we're grabbing and currently getting as a new band. So I think that us establishing ourselves, it's a poignant name, and when we are an established band, you know, people will see its poignancy in hindsight. So
how much difficulty has there been in establishing yourself as a band?
We've had some hiccups and stuff like that. You know, I guess one of them, like my dad being who he is, a lot of people tend to kind of, I suppose, judge us or kind of have a little bit of that classic stigma of, oh, they're so-and-so's kids band or whatever. So, you know, when people do give us a chance, more often than not, they're pleasantly surprised. So I guess that, you know, that's one thing that we overcome. I would even say have overcome quite a while ago, you know.
You've rise to remain from that.
I have rised, and I have hopefully remained.
You are remaining. So, and I have to say, the new album, City of Vultures, right? Mm-hmm. It's so powerful, man. And your guitar players shred. I mean, they are ripping guitar players. Well, everything, it's a very ripping album. I mean, everything is on 10. So you know, tell me about writing the songs and where you get that energy from.
I guess when we were writing the album, we were all we were so fucking hungry, to be frank. We were like writing the album, and I guess like the whole process was just, we were very much aware that it was our debut record, and more so than anything, we wanted to make sure that we could grab people on a first listen. We needed to make sure that all of the songs were there in the sequence we wanted them in, to kind of tell the story we wanted to tell, and also, you know, in terms of sound, kind of portray what we wanted to portray, I guess. So we spent a long time on it, and it's a very intricate album. It's a very complex album. There's a lot of different parts in there. But I also think when you come down and see us live, we just, you know, we bring this kind of rawness to it, because we don't play to a backing track. We don't have, like, you know, all of the weird little soundscapes we have on the album. We don't do that live. I think because the album can speak in 2 volumes, I think that there's, you know, having it on your headphones and sitting back and listening to it and being like, oh, I can hear everything. They're going and seeing us live. It's just raw and it's in your face, and, you know, that's how we like it, and I think that's how they like it too.
So tell people what inspired the title of the album, City of Vultures.
It's just too many fucking vultures around these days, man. You know, I think that the whole idea of City of Vultures came about when I was writing. I basically sat down, I kind of took a look around, and I wrote about what I saw and what I felt. And I think that songs like, you know, Power Through Fear, God Can Bleed, The Serpent, City of Vultures, you know, a lot of it is about the kind of the cogs and the wheels in the social order that we're involved in, you know, especially in the United Kingdom and more so in the Western world, you know, the recession and the powers at hand that are kind of manipulating the figures and the people and the masses. So it's a bit of a broad album in terms of subject matter, and it does deal with quite a couple things. I've even had, you know, people kind of come up to me and say that it sounds like a concept album, which it isn't, but it is a thematic album, I'd say.
Well, in this world of corruption, do you feel that your only voice is your music and your lyrics?
I'd say that it's a damn good place to start.
Is there any... you don't lose sleep over it, though?
I wouldn't say that.
You have no fear about the direction the world's going in today?
I absolutely have fear about the world today. I think that it's a rapidly changing place, now more so than ever. And I don't know, I think that, to be honest, man, I'm going to have to write another album now that you've asked me that question. You know, so album 2, you'll have your answer. But I am definitely worried about the way that the world is currently governing itself and running. But I think that, you know, I also have faith that the world will see itself through, and that people will see themselves through, you know, one way or another.
Do you think that faith comes from you being youthful?
I think that faith, it comes from a very, very deep place, and I think that a lot of people have got wisdom, and a lot of people have got that kind of fire. And it's the kind of, I guess, the difference between being old and young. But I think faith is a constant thing that kind of links the two together. So I think everyone's got faith, and I think everyone, I would like to think, has got some shred of faith in each other.
Let me ask you about the names of some of these songs. The first one I want to talk to you about, Power Through Fear.
Yeah, well, that one kind of speaks for itself. I guess that was kind of about, the almost like the Illuminati, the whole God-fearing fear that kind of, almost perspires out of so many people. And I guess that it is literally the most powerful thing ever, religion or kind of idolatry belief, power through fear, the fear that when you die, you're either going to go to hell or, that whole kind of that weighing things up in your mind, do you make this decision, do you not make this decision, do you go against the status quo? I guess that's what power through fear is mainly about.
Do you think that the people that have taken the Bible and taken Jesus Christ and have used him as a tool for their own ends, is that what you're saying? Like, we're going to use this as a way to get money. We're going to use this as a way of controlling people, when really Christianity was really never about that.
Absolutely, and I'd also say that the whole notion of terrorism, for example, a terrorist is someone that incites terror, and it's kind of it's that whole, it's the wording, it's the portrayal of the enemy that you can't see, and I think that that's what Power Through Fear is mostly about. What it is about, I'd say.
Next song is God Can Bleed.
God Can Bleed is it's kind of going by the old Roman notion that if you shed blood, you're mortal. And I think that's the whole idea behind the song, is that it's all about mortality, and it's all about the human belief that you hold dear. And even if you are kind of constantly looking up to the sky, hoping to ascertain just what God is, or kind of even attain what God is, at the end of the day, you're a human being, and we're all human beings. And when you get up in the morning, you look around, all you see is human beings. So I think that it's about mortality, and it's about respecting your common man. Okay,
the Serpent.
The Serpent is kind of almost like the ferryman. Kind of, it represents a bit of a choice. It was kind of inspired, I guess, by the whole Adam and Eve kind of notion, the snake in the grass.
It sounds like it's about a type of Antichrist, who's like, I'm taking over the world.
It is very much so. It's I'd say a lot about a human psyche, kind of like a bit of a metaphorical, kind of vivid way of describing it and how I feel about it. And people are very serpent-like, very serpentine even at times. And I that was what I wanted to kind of open the album with. I think that's the most. When you look at the title City of Vultures, you immediately get the serpent. It's another animal reference, and it's kind of just a bit of it just kind of exposes what the album is a little bit about, from the off.
There's definitely like a spirit of rebellion in this record. Would you agree?
I'd say so. I mean, it was our first album, and I think that there's nothing stronger than coming out with a bit of fire in your gut, and something you want to talk about, and something you want to scream about more so. So there's definitely a theme of rebellion.
Being the son of Bruce Dickinson, how were you raised?
I usually ate like 3 meals a day, and I went to school, and I was on tour, when I was very, very young, and I'm no Marilyn Manson, man. My dad told me he loved me all the time, so did my mum. So, I had a great childhood. I'm really thankful for it. I'm very, very humbled by the way that my parents did raise me, in hindsight of how many people are kind of lining gutters because they've had it all laid out for them. And I'm very, very thankful to both of them, and especially to everyone, who's kind of given a helping hand in raising me along the way. I've had a great life so far, and I'm very thankful to be here.
Do you think that being on tour like that and having it so embedded in your soul affected your decision to choose music as a career?
I'd say so, for sure. I mean, as much as I kind of, when I think about music, I don't think about those instances. I think that every part has its playing time. So, or I should say, every card can be played. Every card has had its playing time for me. I've been out on many different tours, and it's definitely spurred me onwards to different things at any given time. Even just going to shows, in my hometown or whatever, it always, it kind of riles up this kind of fire in me that just makes me want to go and do it. So I'd say that being on tour, going to shows, going around the entire whole thing, definitely massively influenced me, for sure.
What do you think of the terms sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and do you subscribe to it?
I say iPod downloading and get fucking real.
Really?
Just, dude, come on. It's bullshit nowadays. Like, have fun, you know, but be fucking real. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, it is what it is, man. You know, you can make it real, or you can just fucking buy so hard into that stereotype that you can't even find your own way out your own fucking ass in the morning. It's like, you know, I just think nowadays, you know, bands got to be real. You know, there's so many bands out there that, you know, just kind of lust after like different HTML fucking layouts and shit for like their MySpace and stuff for their Facebook and all these kind of little bits that don't matter, and they want pictures taken of them with like Jim Beam and shit, and it's like, man, just do what you love. Just, you know, if what you love is sex, drugs, rock and roll, and you happen to be really fucking good at what you do, go for it. You know, you have my blessing, but like you needed it in the first place, you know, and just fucking go have fun. You know, I think be real.
Well, I think it gets old after a while, and I think it can prematurely age you at some point.
Yeah, smoking ages you, man.
What brings you the most peace in your life right now?
I'd say playing shows, you know, walking off stage after playing, you know, sitting, just having that nice sit down, that kind of segue into sleep. That's pretty cool. Definitely kind of purges me a little bit. Not like I've got like, you know, demons to exercise or any of that bullshit, but I just have a real good time on stage, and I really exert myself, and I make sure that everyone else is having a good time as well, as best I can. So,
how would Austin Dickinson define the word love?
It's pretty fucking cool, isn't it? I'd say that's my definition.
I guess you kind of grew up with Lauren Harris. You've known Lauren Harris for years, correct?
Yeah.
What did you think of her project? Did you like it? Did you back it?
Oh, it's cool. She's got a fucking voice on her, man. She's got a really good voice. And not only that, she's one of the nicest people on the face of the planet. So,
what is that family like for you? Does everybody look out for? I mean, there is an Iron Maiden family. We've heard about it, and you're a part of that. Do you guys look out for each other?
I'd say there's Iron Maiden families. You know, I'd say that, you know, definitely when we come together, there's a real feeling of, you know, brotherhood, motherhood, fatherhood, friendship. And we all get along, we all really love each other, and we've all grown up together, and we've all been part of something. But I think that, you know, as anything goes, we all have our own chapters to write and our own books to fucking start up. So this is my chapter, Lauren has her chapter, you know, we all kind of just doing our thing.
What do you think makes Rise to Remain unique in a world of bands?
We just keep it real, man. We're real, and we love our fans, and we do our absolute best to write music and perform shows that they fucking love. And I think that there's a lot of bands that don't necessarily do that. It's very easy to say that, you know, as I just have, kind of almost not really hypocritically, but, you know, I would love to think that we absolutely keep that as our ethos and our honest will. You know, that's what we do.
You guys have a music video that's out right now. You might have a couple, right?
Yeah, we got a few out.
Tell me about your most recent one. Which song is it for?
It's for a song called Talking in Whispers.
Tell me about the making of that music video, and do you like making music videos?
I do like making music videos. This one was a little bit different, actually. This one we got our friend Jamie to do it, who works at our label. He's a great guy, and he's really up and coming. So working with him was really, really cool. It felt like we were all, you know, really part of, you know, two kind of careers. He was helping us out, you know, and we were helping him out. So that was a really interesting one to be part of. The actual performance aspect was just me. I was walking along South Bank, which is on the Thames in London, right by Big Ben and Embankment and everything. And he's kind of had a below eye shot, kind of from the neck up, so about that part. Shot of my mouth, just kind of mouthing the lyrics as I was walking along, intercut with, you know, everything that was happening around me, everything that was happening around the city, and this kind of narrative aspect of these two people in a relationship. And it was a cool video. It was a really cool video to be a part of. It's a very short shoot because it was just, like I said, one shot of me walking along, mouthing the lyrics, and it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
What do you think of religion? Do you think it's viable?
Oh man, that's a big old question. I would say that, I mean, for me personally, speaking straightly for no one else here, I don't believe in organized religion, and I won't believe in organized religion until I'm pretty certain that there's nothing else in the world, because I think that this world is just far too big, far too expansive, and there's far too much happening around you to kind of commit to one thing, you know, in terms of saying this is what I believe forever. You know, I I couldn't do that, but at the same time, I deeply respect everyone else's beliefs, and I think that everyone is absolutely within their right as a human being to just go right ahead and make that choice and make that decision whenever is right for them. Personally, I just haven't made it yet.
Are you living your dream right now?
Absolutely.
And then what do you see down the road for you? Do you have a clear vision of the future of Rise to Remain?
We just want to take over the world, man.
You've played a number of huge festivals. What is that experience like for you? I've heard you are really great at working the stage.
Well, thank you. We have done a whole bunch of festivals. We've done Download 3 times. Next year will be our 4th time. We're just doing like Sonispheres. We're doing this.
Those are huge shows, man.
They're gigantic, man, and it's cool to finally be out here in the United States. Doing with all the lessons and all the things and the skills that we've learned doing them. Putting it to practice and putting it to work here at Warped Tour. That feels absolutely great, and it's an honor.
When you have a throat problem, have you had any on tour at all?
Yeah, I have. I've had it a couple times. It's a bummer.
Your father told me one time, because I sat down with your father years ago, he told me one time, look, if I have a throat problem, I'm canceling a show because I would rather make up the show than damage my voice more. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
You're your father's son.
I just think, people come to see the whole shebang. If you're not going to give them a show, if you're not going to give them what they want, why would you want them to come down and be bummed out anyway? You can have that kind of instant, sorry guys, it's cancelled, but we are going to be back, and actually put in the effort and the time in the woodshed and make sure you rebook it for the people that have come down, and don't charge them any extra. As long as you still do that and you make it known that you're very thankful for their patience, I think that's definitely the best course of action.
What's next for Rise to Remain and Austin Dickinson?
It's a secret, but it's fucking cool.
You're working on new songs, and how long do you see the turnaround time for a new record?
Man, we could have it ready in a couple weeks' time if we kind of absolutely stuck our heads down and did it. But I think right now it's just about we're back in the crafting phase. We're back to kind of piecing things together bit by bit, making sure we're happy with it. So,
Austin Dickinson, Blairing Out with Eric Blair. Thank you so much for being on my show. You are a good man.
Thank you very much, mate. You too.
Blairing Out with Eric Blair with Austin Dickinson at the 2012 Warped Tour. Signing off.
Fuck yeah, thank you.
The Blairing Out Show.